close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself standing at a crossroads, faced with a life-changing decision. Your logical mind is spinning, weighing pros and cons, but deep in your gut, you feel a pull in one direction. That pull is your intuition, and it's trying to tell you something important. But here's the kicker. Most of us have been taught to ignore that feeling, to rely solely on facts and figures. What if I told you that by doing so, you're cutting yourself off from your most powerful source of guidance? In this video, we're going to show you how to reconnect with that inner voice, using the groundbreaking insights of Carl Jung. Have you ever felt a sudden urge to take a different route home, only to later discover you avoided a major traffic jam? Or maybe you've had a gut feeling about a person that turned out to be spot on, despite having just met them. These moments of seemingly inexplicable knowing are more than just coincidences. They're glimpses into a powerful inner compass we all possess: intuition. Intuition is like a hidden treasure within each of us, waiting to be unearthed and utilized. It's that inner voice that whispers guidance, that feeling in your stomach that warns you of danger, or that spark of inspiration that leads to brilliant ideas. But here's the catch. In our modern world, dominated by logic and reason, we often dismiss these intuitive nudges as just a feeling or write them off as women's intuition. Think about it. From a young age, we're taught to prioritize facts, data, and rational thinking. We're encouraged to make pros and cons lists, to analyze every decision from every angle. And while this approach certainly has its merits, it often leaves little room for the wisdom of our intuition. It's as if we've been given a high-tech GPS system but insist on using only paper maps. But what if I told you that some of the most successful people in history relied heavily on their intuition? Steve Jobs, for instance, once said, "Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become." And he wasn't alone. Albert Einstein, Richard Branson, and Oprah Winfrey have all spoken about the crucial role intuition played in their success. Now, you might be wondering, if intuition is so powerful, why can't I access it more easily? Well, it turns out that intuition isn't some mystical force beyond our understanding. It actually has a biological basis. Our brains are constantly processing information, much of it subconsciously. This includes subtle cues from our environment, past experiences, and even physiological responses that we're not consciously aware of. Intuition is our brain's way of rapidly accessing and synthesizing this vast pool of information. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, took this understanding even further. He saw intuition as one of the four primary psychological functions, alongside thinking, feeling, and sensation. For Jung, intuition wasn't just a gut feeling or a lucky guess. It was a legitimate way of perceiving and understanding the world around us. Jung believed that intuition allows us to see beyond the obvious, to perceive possibilities that aren't immediately apparent. It's like having a secret superpower that lets you pick up on patterns and connections that others might miss. And the best part? Jung believed that we could all develop and strengthen our intuitive abilities. But why is this so important? Why should we care about tapping into our intuition? The answer lies in authenticity. In a world where we're constantly bombarded with others' opinions and societal expectations, intuition can be our guide back to our true selves. It's a direct line to our deepest values, desires, and potential. Imagine making decisions not based on what you think you should do, but on what feels deeply right to you. Imagine navigating life's challenges with a sense of inner knowing, a confidence that comes from being in tune with your authentic self. This is the power of intuition. Of course, developing your intuition isn't about abandoning logic or reason. It's about finding a balance, about integrating all aspects of your perception and decision-making processes. It's about becoming a more whole, integrated version of yourself. So, as we continue on this journey of exploring intuition, I want you to keep an open mind. Be curious about those gut feelings, those inexplicable knowings. Start paying attention to the subtle whispers of your inner wisdom. Because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to not only recognize your intuition, but to actively cultivate and trust it. Have you ever experienced a moment where you just knew something without knowing how you knew it? That inexplicable sense of certainty, that flash of insight that seems to come from nowhere? These moments of intuitive clarity are more than just random occurrences. They're glimpses into a powerful ability that lies within each of us, waiting to be fully awakened. As we journey deeper into the realm of intuition, it's time to unearth your own intuitive abilities. You might be surprised to discover that you're more intuitive than you realize. Think back to a time when you had a gut feeling about a situation or a person. Maybe you felt an instant connection with someone you just met, or perhaps you had a strong urge to avoid a particular place or decision. These experiences are signs that your intuition is already at work, even if you haven't been consciously aware of it. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone experiences intuition in the same way. Some people might have vivid dreams that offer guidance or insights. Others might feel physical sensations in their body when something important is about to happen. And for some, intuition might come as a sudden, crystal-clear thought that seems to pop into their mind from nowhere. So why do some people seem to be more in tune with their intuitive abilities than others? It's not about being psychic or having some kind of supernatural power. Instead, it's often a matter of recognizing and nurturing the intuitive gifts we already possess. Our childhood experiences, cultural background, and even our personality type can all influence how we perceive and interpret intuitive information. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist who devoted much of his work to understanding the human psyche, identified distinct intuitive types. He believed that everyone has the capacity for intuition, but some individuals naturally rely on it more than others. According to Jung, intuitive types tend to focus on possibilities and future potential rather than concrete facts or past experiences. They're often described as visionaries, able to see patterns and connections that others might miss. But even if you don't consider yourself a natural intuitive type, don't worry. Your intuitive abilities can be developed and strengthened over time. It's like a muscle that grows stronger with use. The key is to start paying attention to those subtle nudges and impressions you experience throughout your day. Here's a simple exercise to help you tap into your intuitive strengths. For the next week, keep a small notebook with you. Whenever you have a hunch or a gut feeling about something, jot it down. Don't judge or analyze it, just make a note of what you felt and when. At the end of the week, look back over your notes. You might be surprised to see patterns emerging or to discover that some of your intuitive hits were more accurate than you realized. Another factor that plays a crucial role in intuition is sensitivity. Have you ever been told that you're too sensitive or that you feel things too deeply? Well, here's some good news. That sensitivity might actually be a sign of strong intuitive abilities. Highly sensitive people often pick up on subtle cues in their environment and in other people's behavior that others might miss. This heightened awareness can be a powerful tool for intuitive insights. Empathy, too, is closely linked to intuition. If you find yourself easily understanding and sharing the feelings of others, you're tapping into a form of emotional intuition. This ability to read people can be incredibly valuable in both personal and professional relationships. As you continue to explore and recognize your intuitive abilities, you might start to notice some internal resistance. Maybe you've been taught to always rely on logic and reason, or perhaps you're worried about what others might think if you start trusting your intuition more. These are common roadblocks that many people face on their journey to developing their intuitive skills. Have you ever felt like your intuition is trying to speak to you, but you just can't hear it clearly? It's as if there's a constant buzz drowning out that inner voice. Well, you're not alone. In our modern world, we're surrounded by a cacophony of distractions that can make it incredibly difficult to tune into our intuitive wisdom. Imagine your intuition as a delicate radio signal, constantly broadcasting insights and guidance. Now, picture the chaos of modern life as a sea of static, interfering with that signal. What's creating that static in your life? Is it the constant ping of notifications on your phone? The endless stream of social media updates? Or perhaps it's the relentless pressure to keep up with societal expectations. Let's take a moment to explore these common barriers that stand between us and our intuitive abilities. In today's fast-paced world, we're bombarded with information from every direction. Our minds are constantly processing emails, text messages, news updates, and social media feeds. This information overload can leave us feeling overwhelmed and disconnected from our inner selves. But it's not just external noise that's the problem. Internal factors like stress and anxiety can also muffle our intuitive voice. When we're caught up in worry about the future or regret about the past, it becomes incredibly challenging to stay present and listen to our gut feelings. Stress hormones like cortisol can cloud our judgment and make it harder to trust our instincts. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Carl Jung, the renowned psychologist, introduced a concept called the persona, a mask we wear to fit into society. While this mask can be useful in navigating social situations, it can also become so convincing that we lose touch with our authentic selves. When we're constantly trying to meet others' expectations or live up to societal standards, we risk disconnecting from our true inner wisdom. Have you ever experienced a sense of intuitive burnout? It's a state where you feel completely disconnected from your inner guidance system. You might find yourself second-guessing every decision, feeling indecisive, or experiencing a general sense of being off. These are all symptoms that your intuitive abilities might be overwhelmed by the noise of modern life. But here's the good news. Recognizing these barriers is the first step towards clearing them. By identifying what's creating static in your life, you can start to make conscious choices to reduce that interference. Maybe it's setting boundaries with technology, creating moments of stillness in your day, or learning to recognize when you're wearing your persona mask a little too tightly. Think of it like clearing a path through a dense forest. At first, it might seem overwhelming. There are so many obstacles in the way. But as you start to identify and remove each barrier, one by one, you create more space for your intuition to flow freely. With each step, that inner voice becomes a little clearer, a little stronger. As we move forward, we'll explore practical techniques to not only clear these blockages, but also actively cultivate your intuitive powers. You'll learn how to create an environment, both internally and externally, that supports and nurtures your intuitive abilities. By the end of this journey, you'll have the tools to tune into your inner wisdom with greater clarity and confidence than ever before. Have you ever felt like there's an untapped reservoir of wisdom within you, just waiting to be discovered? Imagine for a moment that your intuition is like a sleeping giant, possessing incredible power and knowledge. Carl Jung believed that this giant exists within all of us, and he developed fascinating techniques to awaken it. But here's the intriguing part. These methods might challenge everything you thought you knew about decision-making. Let's start with active imagination, a powerful tool Jung created to bridge the gap between our conscious and unconscious minds. Picture yourself in a quiet room, eyes closed, allowing your mind to wander freely. As images and scenes begin to form, you don't just passively observe them, you actively engage with them. You might find yourself in conversation with symbolic figures or exploring fantastical landscapes. This isn't mere daydreaming. It's a deliberate practice that can unlock profound insights and intuitive knowledge. But how does this differ from conventional approaches to decision-making? While traditional methods often rely on logical analysis and pros and cons lists, active imagination taps into the rich symbolism of your unconscious mind. It's like having a direct line to your intuition, bypassing the limitations of rational thought. Now, let's venture into the realm of dreams, a subject that fascinated Jung throughout his life. Have you ever woken up from a vivid dream, feeling like it held some important message, only to have it slip away as you started your day? Jung believed that our dreams are a gateway to our intuitive wisdom, filled with personal and universal symbols that can guide us if we learn to interpret them. To harness this nightly wisdom, try keeping a dream journal. Place a notebook and pen by your bed, and as soon as you wake up, jot down everything you remember about your dreams. Don't worry about making sense of them right away. Instead, look for recurring symbols, emotions, or themes over time. You might be surprised at the patterns that emerge, offering insights into your deepest desires, fears, and untapped potential. As you become more attuned to your dream world, you'll likely notice that certain symbols keep appearing. A tree might represent growth, while water could symbolize emotions. But here's the key. These symbols are deeply personal. What a rose means to you might be entirely different from what it means to someone else. Trust your intuition as you interpret these dream messages. Now, let's explore another powerful tool for awakening your intuitive giant: meditation and mindfulness. In our busy lives, it's easy for our intuition to get drowned out by the constant chatter of our thoughts. Meditation acts like a volume control, turning down the noise so we can hear the whispers of our inner wisdom. Start with just 5 minutes a day of sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. As thoughts arise, acknowledge them without judgment and let them pass. With practice, you'll find that the gaps between thoughts grow longer, creating space for intuitive insights to bubble up. Mindfulness takes this practice into your daily life. As you go about your day, try to stay present in each moment. Notice the sensations in your body, the emotions you're experiencing, and the thoughts passing through your mind. This heightened awareness can help you pick up on subtle intuitive cues you might otherwise miss. As you integrate these practices into your life, you'll likely start to notice changes. Perhaps you'll find yourself making decisions with more confidence, or you'll start picking up on nuances in situations that you previously overlooked. You might even experience moments of profound clarity, where the right path forward suddenly becomes crystal clear. But here's the most exciting part. Consistent practice can lead to truly remarkable intuitive insights. Imagine being able to navigate complex situations with ease, knowing instinctively which choice aligns with your deepest values. Picture yourself effortlessly reading between the lines in conversations, understanding what's not being said as clearly as what is. This is the power of a fully awakened intuitive giant. Have you ever felt a tug in your gut, urging you to take a certain path, only to find yourself questioning if it's genuine intuition or just fear in disguise? You're not alone. Navigating the landscape of intuition can be as tricky as traversing a misty mountain path. One moment, you're certain you're on the right track, and the next, you're wondering if you've wandered off course. Let's explore this challenging terrain together. Imagine your intuition as a compass, always pointing towards your true north. But here's the catch. Sometimes, the needle gets pulled by hidden magnetic fields of our own making. These fields are what Carl Jung called our shadow, the parts of ourselves we've tucked away, out of sight but not out of mind. Your shadow self isn't inherently bad. It's simply the collection of traits, desires, and fears that you've pushed into your subconscious. But here's where it gets interesting. Your shadow can masquerade as intuition, leading you down paths that might not serve your highest good. That gut feeling telling you to avoid a new opportunity? It could be genuine intuition sensing danger, or it might be your shadow's fear of change whispering in your ear. So how do we tell the difference? It starts with getting to know your shadow. Jung believed that by acknowledging and integrating these hidden aspects of ourselves, we could develop a clearer, more authentic intuition. Think of it as cleaning the lens through which you view your inner world. One powerful technique for distinguishing between true intuition and emotional reactions is body awareness. Your body often knows the truth before your mind catches up. When you're faced with a decision, take a moment to check in with your physical sensations. Does the thought of a particular choice make you feel light and expansive, or tight and constricted? True intuition often comes with a sense of calm certainty, even if the path ahead looks challenging. Fear or desire, on the other hand, might manifest as a knot in your stomach or a racing heart. But don't discount your logical mind entirely. Jung recognized that intuition works best when it's in harmony with our other psychological functions. Think of it as a dance between your intuitive insights and rational analysis. When you receive an intuitive hit, take a step back and examine it objectively. Does it align with your values and long-term goals? Is there evidence to support or refute it? This balanced approach can help you avoid the pitfalls of blind faith in every gut feeling. Developing this discernment takes practice, but it's a skill that can transform your decision-making process. Start small. The next time you're choosing between two options, close your eyes and imagine yourself taking each path. Pay attention to the subtle shifts in your body and emotions. Which choice feels like a breath of fresh air, and which feels like you're holding your breath? As you hone this skill, you might notice patterns emerging. Perhaps you realize that your true intuition often comes as a quiet, persistent nudge, while fear tends to shout and demand immediate action. Or you might discover that your intuition speaks to you through vivid mental images, while your emotional reactions manifest more as physical sensations. Remember, this journey of self-discovery is unique to you. What works for one person might not resonate with another. The key is to remain curious and open to your own inner workings. As you become more attuned to the nuances of your intuitive landscape, you'll find yourself making decisions with greater confidence and clarity. It's also important to create space for your intuition to speak. In our hyper-connected world, it's easy for our inner voice to get drowned out by the constant noise of notifications and to-do lists. Consider setting aside time each day for quiet reflection. This could be through meditation, journaling, or simply taking a walk in nature. These moments of stillness allow your intuition to rise to the surface, free from the distractions of daily life. As we reach the end of our journey into the depths of intuition, take a moment to reflect on the power that lies within you. Have you ever considered how tapping into your inner wisdom could transform your life? Imagine waking up each day with a profound sense of clarity, making decisions that truly resonate with your authentic self. This isn't just a far-off dream. It's a reality that's within your reach. By embracing the teachings of Carl Jung and practicing the techniques we've explored, you're not just developing a skill. You're unlocking a gateway to a more fulfilling, purposeful existence. Think about the countless moments in your life where you've second-guessed yourself or ignored that quiet inner voice. What if, from this day forward, you chose to listen? Remember, your intuitive journey doesn't have to be a giant leap. It can start with a single step. Perhaps it's setting aside 5 minutes for meditation tomorrow morning, or jotting down a dream in a journal. Whatever you choose, know that you're embarking on a path of self-discovery that has the potential to revolutionize your life. As you move forward, we'd love to hear about your experiences. Have you had any intuitive insights that surprised you? How has trusting your inner wisdom changed your decision-making? Share your stories in the comments below. Your journey might just inspire someone else to take that first step towards unlocking their own intuitive potential.